Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Urban Legends, the hit internet podcast about urban legends and other such topics. I believe we've got something a little different today, but I won't be taking you through it. Me, Chris Flynn, that's right. It will be my partner-in-law, Mr.
Co-conspirator, Neil Herbert. Hey, Chris, how are you going?
I'm all right, Neil. How are you? You're in... What have you? We recorded a couple of days ago, so I'm not imagining anything brilliant happened to you since then.
Nothing's really changed yet.
Trying to think, what's been going on? Oh, with Biden's dropped out. That's good.
Biden's dropped out.
Old Father Time.
And there's everyone's running around.
We're all now
so
having we're all having a brat girl summer. I know I am. Are you now?
Oh yeah, I'm a really big fan of Charlie MXCX or whatever her name is.
XCX, come on, man.
CX, yeah.
Showing your age, unlike me.
Yeah,
I'm hip.
You're
cool.
so down.
We talk about. I've got
any like Gen Z or Gen Alpha just stumbling across this.
I'm currently wearing lime green toenail polish.
Nice.
And I'm smoking a fag.
Yeah, that's pretty hip.
And do you know what?
You and Humphrey Bogart.
Do you know what? I'm just going to have some fun, Neil. I'm not doing all this getting up and grinding nonsense. That's for the millennials. I'm just going to have some fun. I'm going to drink some Southern Comfort and lemonade, and I'm going to smoke 20 Rothmans.
I mean, I am technically Gen X, so I quite agree with a lot of their stances on things like skinny jeans. And the rest, yeah. I'm a baby boomer. I am the...
Unfortunately, you're the last one of the... You're
the greatest generation.
You're the loudest one of the silent generation.
Yeah.
No, so what do you get on with being Gen X, apparently? Wink, wink.
Just basically cynical fucks, and it's not bothered, really.
Okay.
No. So there's things like, they're anti-skinny jeans.
Who
don't
is?
see the put. It was supposedly Gen Z, and I don't know. Isn't Charlie XCX a millennial? Supposedly,
no.
According to I don't know. Is it you got to be 27 or below to be Gen Z? Is that something like that?
I think
she was born in 90. I'm not sure how old she is. I don't know. I thought she was a bit later. I don't know. But I know Brat is all that sort. I mean, because Taylor Swift's like the champion of everything at the moment, isn't she? And she must be a millennial.
Yeah, she is.
Isn't she?
She's about 42 now. Yeah.
Yeah, she's about 50. Christ, first billion pounds selling tour. Jesus.
Yeah,
something
good, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's bigger than Michael Jackson was when we were younger, I would say.
Do you know what? You must be right, but that blows my mind. I mean, nothing against her. I don't know that much.
Well, the thing is,
it's nice tunes, just not necessarily my cup of tea. But
no, I don't really know any of her stuff. Like, none of it's ever stuck. But that's fine. It's not meant for me, right? No problem.
No, exactly. Not having
no problem at all. When will
you not want to incur the wrath of our audience?
When will us white males finally get something that we can enjoy? This is disgusting. Hello. Hi, guys. We're here. Yeah, how about you give us something, yeah? We're a bit sick of this. Yeah,
it's good, wholesome stuff, isn't it?
I think the thing is, though, that when Michael Jackson was massive, when he did the tour in the UK or whatever, it was on all the news reports all the time and everything. But because we only had 4 channels, we all saw it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, media's so dispersed that, to be honest, I could have quite easily missed that Taylor Swift was even playing in the UK, right? If it hadn't been for certain things that I caught, because it was kind of in the zeitgeist, but I could have missed it.
Because for someone that age, it would have been like something was number one, you'd probably be exposed to it. Because this is the other thing I was reading somewhere around. Basically, the top 40 out of the UK, it's just Ed Sheeran all day long.
Nobody
needs that, do they?
Not really, no.
Because it's all because of the weirdness with the streaming, and then you'll get sort of like stuff that's 30 years old or whatever. Although that's nice in the way that you get something like Kate Bush gets.
But does anyone go? What's the top 40? I better listen to that.
No, it's not like when we was lads.
We're
not being, getting on our lawn and yelling at the clouds here, by the way. It's just, we're acknowledging it.
No, it's just different.
Different times.
When I was young, I remember going out with my paper round money and going and buying a couple of CDs on tape, a couple of singles on tape.
Buying the latest wax cylinder.
Yeah, and you were buying the latest wax cylinder, of course. Now. Yeah.
What? Invention.
Wax cylinder? Oh, it's like
they're in the room with you.
It's like having a parlor quartet in the room with you. Lovely stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I think she's the biggest. So what
I got onto that, but anyway, I have no idea.
Brat Summer.
Oh, Brat Summer.
Oh, but so
Kamala Harris through to Brat Summer, through to
yes,
because Kamala's Brat apparently, so that's good.
Yes,
I believe that's a good thing.
I think it's better than. I think it's Kamala being Brat is better than Donald Trump being fascist.
An absolute raging hostile fascist. Yes, absolutely.
So that's
quite a refreshing change of pace. I won't lie.
I like the fact that because of how the electoral setups happened in America, that like Kamala Harris is like, wow, this like young, full of energy. She's like 59. It's
well, the thing is they've been all their attack lines on Biden are coming back to bite them, aren't they? Which is
I like the fact that he keeps going on about Hannibal Lecter. That's a good bit of trolling.
Indication of where his mind's at.
Well, because what he does, it's really like, because, he's a brilliant communicator.
Yeah.
What he does is he will mention asylum seekers, but then quite close to that, he'll mention Hannibal Lecter, because Hannibal Lecter was in an asylum. And so he's trying to conflagrate the two words of asylum. So one being madhouse. Well, it
is madness, isn't it, Chris?
Treatment facility.
Open borders.
Oh, that's madness, yeah. Absolutely.
MS-25 just walking through.
Well, and ISIS.
And whatever that
ISIS setting up a caliphate in downtown Reno. Yeah.
Well, they've been given their own casino, haven't they?
Have they?
Yeah, just got they've been given casino,
their own lands. Yeah. Their own land, their own casino. Given their own ISIS reservation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of madrasas have been opened up in there. Madrasas, I'm not gonna. No.
Right, let's get on to let's move in swiftly on.
So now, what we talk about today, I believe it's something a little bit different.
Going to do an Olympic special.
You love the Olympics, don't you?
Do you know what? It's nice to be able. It's just a lot of.
You love Paris as well.
I do love Paris. It's a low commitment kind of. You can just sit and watch other people do all this hard work, obscure little sports that you normally don't worry about. And it's
breakdancing's in it this year.
Is it good for good? The more obscure, the better. The harder it is to parse who's won or whatever. Then that's the more I enjoy it. Yeah, no, I think it's because I think you get these people they train very hard on fairly niche sports. I think good fair play to them, get their little. Not being massively patronising here, but get that
some international recognition.
Spotlight. Yeah, get some international recognition.
Be part of a team.
Yeah, be part of a big team.
Have lots of sex in the Olympic Village, apparently.
Yeah, a lot of young people.
Why not?
Peak physical fitness. Yeah. I'm generally pro Olympics. It's only every 4 years, which is just as well.
But generally pro it. Oh, don't put your flag in too hard, Neil. Fucking hell.
No, I don't know what. I do quite enjoy watching a little bit of it.
Your balls hurt from sitting on the fence?
All right. Fucking hell! I didn't expect the fucking third degree about. No,
you should have.
I doubt there's too many people who find that a controversial stance. Yeah, the Olympics is like
which is exactly why you went for it.
Yeah.
I think
Mr. Fucking Contrarian.
Yeah, I think the Olympics should be banned.
Shit, I think it should be banned. Yeah.
What? That's normally your position. What's happening here? Why are we doing a switch?
I think. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So generally pro Olympics, we can say.
Yes.
What Olympic sport would you be best at?
What's that? If they could sort of like the Olympic the walking one.
Yes.
If they could do it like standing still.
But you've got
preferably sitting down.
Sitting down, yeah. Okay. Who can sit the longest? Isn't that just who doesn't mind lying in their own filth and defecation by another name?
Well, that's how you want to term it.
Yeah, well, we tried that, but we couldn't get the sponsorship.
No,
so we've done Olympic sitting.
We said it was like the Le Mans of sitting down, but they weren't having it.
Fair enough. So Olympic special. So how's this going to go?
So how's this going to go? So basically, I was just been Googling urban legends of Paris, and there are if you tuned into a coronation special, it's a similar kind of thing here. We're just going to do little stories because none of them were that big. So rather than doing our usual scoring system and all the rest of it, we're just going to do a bunch of. Got an article here on 8 scary stories in urban legends of Paris. We're going to run through a few and just say,
how they might affect the Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, really very little time to the Olympics. This is very lazy this
same
week.
City.
Yeah. It's the same city, which is, that's literally the tie-in.
Cool. Well,
so there you
why
go.
Don't you fire away with story number 1?
So this is from World in Paris. Bonjour from Paris, says Alicia, the travel blogger behind World in Paris. A quirky explorer with a preference for the local side of the city. So anyway, he decided to do, it doesn't actually have a date on the article, but it doesn't matter, does it?
Doesn't matter.
Right. So, the city is full of mysterious stories and urban legends to feel the city's dark side.
Ooh.
Some of these legends of Paris date from the Middle Ages, and strolling the city's twisting streets in search of these spectres and spooks can be a fantastic way to have a great deal of spooky fun. Here are their favourites. So, number 1, Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, I thought that was just made up by the musical monkey.
We'll come on to that at the end, actually, because I looked into this one because there's a legend here, and I looked if this is a real one, then potentially could pad it out, but yeah, I'll explain at the end. Okay, so the Phantom of the Opera is one of the most famous legends of Paris and related to the history of the Opera Garnier. In 1873, Ernest, a pianist, was disfigured in the Salle Pelletier fire. The Opera Garnier's ancestor, or Pieter, is that? The unfortunate lost his companion in a disaster and sank into deep sadness. So I think he was in love with this beautiful ballerina as the sort of, again, how much of this is the urban legend, how much of this is the...
Did it say he lost his partner, though? So he wasn't just in love, he was in relations with...
he lost his companion is how they phrased it.
Companion.
I don't think they were married. I think he was...
It could have been his dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was apparently a beautiful ballerina, but anyway, we'll come on at the moment why this is kind of like a bit obscure. So hopeless, he decided to isolate himself from the world and hid in Opera Garnier's basement, which was then under construction. He spent the rest of his life in the dark. You ever thought about doing that, just haunting a basement?
Well, rent prices around here, of course I fucking have. I wouldn't mind doing, To be honest, you say that. When I was desperately looking for somewhere to live, I saw a place round the corner from where I am now, near Hove Station, and it was literally a basement. So the only at the very back of it, so the majority of the flat was under the road.
Yeah.
Then at the very back, there was like a dugout kind of light well, so you could get a bit of light in. But it would have been essentially living in a basement, right? No natural light, no windows in your bedroom or anything. And that was going to cost me about £1,250 a month. So living in a basement for free sounds like sounds like dream world, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's only so long before we start advertising places in sewers for.
Well, it's already happening in London, not sewers, but it already happens in London, doesn't it? There's a massive.
Live in our pool.
There's a massive underground sort of, because of rent's mad. There's a massive sort of underground, sort of black market for housing where, someone will just put a shed in their back garden or something.
Oh right, yeah,
and then hire it out for £800 a month or something. Yeah. Without water or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's there's just all kinds of unscrupulous stuff going on.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's every it'll be every suburban house has a favela at the bottom, sort of thing.
Beautiful.
Right. How you'd like it.
Yeah, exactly. Where do we get to? So he spent the rest of his life in the dark corners of the building until his last breath. He ate the fish from the underground lake of the opera.
Underground lake, eh?
So there is actually, in the Opera Garnier, there is kind of underground. It was used as a sort of flood off for when they built the building. So and his cries of despair could be heard backstage. Since his disappearance, several strange facts had occurred in the Opera Garnier. The machinist was found hanged, but the rope would have strangely vanished. Slightly weirdly phrased, but
so he was found hung, but there was no rope.
Yeah, I believe that's how I'm interpreting that. Yeah. Then this one's quite famous, actually. The fall of a chandelier during the performance, which instantly killed a spectator seated in seat number 13.
To be fair, he was eating crisps.
Yeah, so, he was filming the performance on his mobile phone.
Justice done.
Yeah. And what could be easier than attributing them to the Phantom of the Opera, who would haunt the corridors of the famous theatre? All of these mysteries have fed into the imagination of many writers, including Gaston Leroux, who wrote The Phantom of the Opera. It was a worldwide success, largely inspired by this legend.
Gaston Leroux.
Gaston Leroux.
So roux as in the
resource.
Flour and fat.
Flour and butter based, yeah.
You can do olive oil.
Penny fat, yeah, you could use olive oil, goose fat.
To make
more traditionally butter.
Of course. But to make a delicious white sauce for your lasagna.
Indeed. Or
make a cheese sauce.
You can cook it out a bit longer until it turns brown. I think it's fairly similar. Yeah, that's fairly. I think they do that in not jambalaya. What's the
only time
Creole stew?
Creole stew.
I
don't know.
Famous one. My brain's gone dead. I'm only thinking jambalaya, but there's I'll have to look this up. Anyway,
the only time I've done it where it's gone brown is when I was making a roux when I was on my uppers financially. So I was making a roux, obviously, but I only had brown bread flour, wholemeal flour, and olive oil, and then I got a brown roux. But it did work. It was fine.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine. No,
enough cheese on it, Neil. Doesn't matter, does it?
Gumbo, that was the word I was looking for.
Gumbo.
Yeah, no, they cook it until it turns brown in gumbo.
Okay.
Really, cook it until it's really well cooked, and then that's part of developing the flavour. Apparently, it sort of tastes the
right.
I think. There you go. Yeah, and anyway, so I looked this up because I was kind of, let's find out a little bit more about this Ernst, and it turns out that that's pretty much, it feels like it's been made up over the last 20 years or so.
Oh, all of it?
Yeah, so, I mean, the only source I could find to confirm it was Reddit, but there's a few places that, talk about this Ernst. It's just really repeating the story. So somebody did get killed by a chandelier in the Opera Garnier, and that was kind of like what inspired Gaston Leroux, but this whole idea that there was someone who lived in the basement, very much like what he'd written about. That sounds like a modern urban myth. That's quite postmodern, isn't it, Chris?
It is, considering that the story of
it's an urban legend created after
based on a story that was made up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like you can't it's you get a few like that. Like if
it's cheap, isn't it? Basically.
Well, it's a snake eating its own tail, Neil.
Yeah.
And soon you'll end up with no fresh urban legends. And is that what you want?
This is why I say they shouldn't, create urban legends with AI, but would they listen?
Nope, they wouldn't, Neil.
Talking of which, here's one you'll be familiar with as well. The Baker and Barber Ile de la City. So that's that little island in the centre of Paris, where Notre Dame is. So this story makes us travel in time to medieval Paris, and more precisely to Ile de la City. There, a stone's throw from Notre Dame, a barber regularly received foreign students housed by neighbouring canons. Sometimes one of these young students would mysteriously disappear.
Uh-oh.
But at that time, a great mystery. Attacks were frequent, so it was natural to think these students were the victims.
Right.
I mean, is that really true of medieval times? People just getting murdered constantly?
Maybe, I would think. I mean, there was no constabulary.
Well, no, there wouldn't be any police or anything like that, but I'm not convinced. Well, who knows?
With that, because that we've presumably had the same percentage of nutcases within our society going all the way back to the dawn of times.
Everyone's walking around armed. Who knows? I mean, the next point does make a bit more sense. So besides, these young people were coming from far away for their studies. They had no family in Paris who could ask for them.
Yeah. So they're easy victims.
What do we think's happening? And he's a barber, bear in mind, Chris.
Oh, he's not a Sweeney the Todd. Sir Sweeney the Todd.
Well,
Don't talk about him because he is my God. Not a Sweeney the Todd, is he?
Well, let's have a look. But one day, something unusual happened. A dog had been howling at death for several days in front of the baker's door.
What?
This is...
The dog was howling at death.
I kind of skim-read this article.
Had the dog taken a lot of DMT?
I think it might be their second language. But, and the shop was next to the barber's salon. The baker's next to the barber's.
The baker's. Oh,
his master, a student from Germany, had not come out for his hair appointment or come out of his hair appointment.
I have come for my hair appointment.
And this is where it falls apart.
Ah!
The police come to the scene in medieval Paris, apparently.
No police.
Yeah. So this is the
might be a town. It could be a city watch.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, maybe a sheriff.
Town watch. Yeah, you put volunteers who kind of because the first professionalised police force in the world was, of course, the Bow Street Runners.
Robert Peel's, wasn't it? Yeah. So they came to the scene, decided to investigate, and then made the macabre discovery of a sordid collaboration. The barber.
Do you think? Sorry, just quickly. Do you think that people really love detective stuff, right? They love true crime, they love detective programs.
Yeah.
And people like sitting there and sort of figuring it out themselves, right? Which is why some of them are better than others. Ones which allow you to do that.
Yeah.
Right, rather than ones where I remember there used to be this detective thing called Jonathan Creek in the UK, and it was about a magician who solved crimes. So, like, people go, "Oh, but how did he do it? Like, how could he get locked in the trunk?"
He came up with the props for a magician. That was the thing. So
right,
he was inventing the tricks. Yeah, prop master, whatever you call them.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I think I saw like one episode. What annoyed me is he would go, and it'd look at his face while he kind of looked contemplative, but it wouldn't show you what he'd seen, so you weren't allowed to kind of figure it out yourself. And so, like, what's the point? But do you think that people like that detective? Do you think there's like an innate... Do you think all of us have like a little detective inside us? Because if you go back to before it was all professionalised, then the community would have got their heads together to do the detective work, wouldn't they? So
just burnt the nearest stranger
Irishman,
or whatever, well, the person we're othering. I think people like puzzles, and I think there's also there's a desire, something that's intangible and hasn't been solved. I think a desire to think that everything is solvable.
What percentage do you think the improvement is from a normal person, so like you or I, normal person, what percentage better at detective work do you think a trained detective is?
I mean, I can't put a percentage on it, but
I'm afraid I'm going to have to insist now.
All right, 32.7%.
Okay, that's not bad. Like, just under a third.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. Just write that down.
Well, no, because working with some people who work in compliance stuff, the big thing with any kind of interrogation that you have to learn early on is you never go in with the assumptions, or at least you don't let that steer your investigation, which I think is where a lot of people would fall down. Because that's where you fall into traps. So you have to, all the questioning.
I've got a long list of people that I'm trying to pin some shit on. So that probably wouldn't be great for me.
Yeah. 5 o'clock, want to get in the pub? Come on, let's get this one wrapped up.
Yeah, that was another one for Mr. Herbert. He's going away for a long time.
Anyway, so you can probably figure it out. The police or whatever come to the scene, decide to investigate, and made the macabre discovery of a sordid collaboration. The barber cut the throats of his young clients and then by a trapdoor threw the bodies into his cellar, which communicated that with a pastry chef. Very, very Sweeney Todd. It's in fact exactly the same plot.
See how I polish them off?
It seems that the pastry chef used the corpses to make delicious pies, the best in the French capital, according to the chronicles of that time.
But was it the filling, or was it that he did a very good pastry?
Yeah, that's it. The meat, so, but
yeah, it was like, you didn't even need to do this. Your pies are really
the sauce, isn't it? Yeah.
You could have. We would have been happy to pay more.
But anyway, so they paid for their crimes. They were burned alive in a public square, and their houses were razed.
Good.
The plot of the bakery is today used as a garage for the police of Paris. Again, if that was medieval, almost certainly not. It would have been cleared out, I would have thought. But anyway, this is one of the most famous Paris legends, and it inspired the musical Sweeney Todd. I'd love to know if that's true.
It's not.
I think I am kind of calling bullshit.
No, it's. I'll tell you what it is there are several similar.
I'm sure there are ones like that in every city across. So the thing is, cannibalism. Do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, Neil, right? A good idea is a good idea. So like lots of, it's one of these things which will within human society, killing people in a barber chair and putting them in pies. A good idea is a good idea. It will simply sort of pop up everywhere in the world because, right? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it was one of maybe several bits where, they probably took bits from a few different things to do the musical. But as we saw in our much underloved Sweeney Todd episode, like there's plenty to suggest that a fair bit of it could well have been real in London. So I don't think then
you never know.
I don't think he got transported, but I think, maybe one heard about the other. Maybe one was visiting Paris. Maybe one was visiting London. Who knows?
Yeah, because I mean, there's actually, I've just found there's another site that puts it down to the 1380s. So it's
old.
Even Charles VI was a fan of their pâtés and meat pies.
So it's very high market, very up marketplace.
Yeah, and how like.
Which was, I mean, this is the thing. Like, you can't trust people like that who say pie £10. Like, pie shouldn't be £10.
I think, like, if medieval Europe as well, you're somebody who can afford to have your hair cut, like you're that well-to-do. I think you just like murder up somebody. I don't know, less likely to be missed.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in that time, then I'd just get the rats to gnaw my hair back down to a crop.
Yeah. Well, I imagine, like, if
Well, to be honest, let's be honest, I probably have syphilis. I don't have hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a problem.
That's
engage. Fine. That's what happened to Patrick Stewart.
He treated it with mercury, so it's anything that was left has fallen out as well. Right, let's have the Wizard's Rock, Le Rocher de la Sorcière.
The Wizard's Rock.
I think I'm.
Is it about the rock band Wizard?
It's about a rock that's. Let's find out. I didn't read this one, so I thought. There are many legends of Paris located in the bohemian neighbourhood of Montmartre, nice part of Paris, including that of the famous Rocher de la Sorcière. I'm translating that perhaps wrongly as Wizard Rock. Let's have a look. Situated in a small private alley behind Rue Lepic, this imposing rock sits in the middle of a picturesque passage named the Passage de la Sorcière. But what's the story behind it? Back in the 19th century, a crazy older woman inhabited one of the manors of this passage and used to scare the children who ventured to hang there.
I think that just means single older woman, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 27 and not married.
Stay away from her children.
The neighbourhood children, frightened by this ugly character, started to call her the witch. Oh, there you go. La Sorcière is the witch, not wizard.
Okay.
Forgive me. As for the enigmatic rock with a strange and massive shape, it would be an old fountain known as La Sorcière, the dowser. Because it's not located very far from the witch's old manor and endowed with a very strange shape, it didn't take much for it to be renamed Witch's Rock.
Right.
There you go, just a bit of linguistic confusion. Other people... Go on.
They basically don't have anything to do with each other.
This is a thin one for us. This is why I said do the 8. So other people claim that the rock is a meteorite, which fell from space who knows when. It's up to you to decide the version you like most. I mean, are they mutually exclusive? Could you not have summoned down a meteorite with like a spell?
To make a fountain?
Yeah.
That sounds very Skyrim.
To crush Sweeney Todd on the head while Gaston Leroux's walking past and he goes, this gives me a good idea for a story.
Actually used the incredible power that the rock crashing to the ground made to get particularly thin phyllo pastry.
Oh, yes.
So thin. It's almost translucent, Neil. That's probably what they did.
That's probably what it was. Anyway, it's closed today, so you can't go and see it. So tough shit.
Oh, got nothing to do now.
Number 4, The Tomb of Countess Demidov.
So do you think that because this is a tomb, if you met Tomb Raider in real life, you would heavily criticise her archaeological techniques, because actually she sort of ends up destroying a lot of the evidence which would be really useful for dating?
Well, I think both her and Indiana Jones would have stern words with from an academic perspective.
I think it'd be struck off, wouldn't they?
Yeah. For so many reasons.
So many reasons. But as far
not
as
to mention her, killing of wildlife
and humans.
Yeah.
And probably zombies. I don't know. I haven't played the games.
Don't know.
But the two
played about 5 seconds of it. I'm not quite sure.
The tomb which is a platformer. The tomb which puzzle platformer, boring. So the tomb which you're talking about hasn't been raided. Is that what we're saying?
Well, I don't know, Chris. It could.
Okay.
So let's have a look. So the Pierre Lachaise was one of Lara Croft's favourite.
There we go.
No, it's one of the most beautiful Paris cemeteries. It is a place full of legends like the one linked to Countess Demidov, who was an extremely wealthy lady of Russian origin who died in 1818. She rests in a white marble sarcophagus surrounded by 10 Doric columns, which does not go unnoticed amongst the neighbouring tombs.
Oh, I'll bet.
10.
Look at her.
Doric.
Oh, someone's a bit new money. I think you'll find...
We're Corinthian around here, look.
Yeah, I think you'll find...
I think Corinthian's the more showy one, isn't it? But anyway, whatever.
What's the other one? Corinthian, Doric,
Ionic, is it?
Ionic, yeah.
Is it Ionic?
Yeah. That's a curly boy. Like the scroll.
Friends are into Greece, just wincing at pronunciation of these, probably.
Yeah, but they're into Grease, the musical.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you know that...
Stop going on about Grease Lightning. Just a fucking car.
Jesus Christ. Well, we don't go to the pub anymore. Yeah. It's getting on the table after a sherry going, need a song on the bottom road. Fuck me. You've been blind behind the eyes. Did you know that originally, in the original Grease, Travolta was second choice?
Oh, really?
Henry Winkler was first, no joke. But he said, I don't want to be typecast as a Greek sort of a 50s greaser.
Really 50s greaser.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an urban legend of its own right. That's true. It's good if it's true. That's a too good to be true story. I'm not saying it's not true. It's just, but that's.
Well, you know what Hollywood people are like. Oh, who dresses 50s? Oh, that guy. He seems popular. Let's just get him in. But no, he turned it down. He said, "Nah, don't want it."
I mean, it's not to say he would have had a Travolta-like career anyway.
No, different person.
I think he's and he's been really successful. Winkler, he's been.
He's been very. I really like him. He's great. Yeah. Even
seems a genuinely cool guy.
He sort of plays characters who are like dodgy accountants and stuff. He's still really likable and charismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he would have become a Scientologist.
Yeah, I was going to say, who knows? One thing last time I read about him, he was I think it was a few months back, but he was there was a fire at a hotel in Ireland, I think it was.
When he caused it.
He decided to try and burn it down. Oh, poor Henry.
Hennas.
But no, he came out and he was very nice to everyone.
Can't handle his Guinness, that boy.
Oh, no. Right, 10 Doric columns.
One pint of Guinness and tries to burn the hotel down.
Burn down the hotel.
Fucking hell. All right, mate.
It's a bit stronger than Bud, isn't it? King of beers. Yeah, whatever. It's not even the nicest fucking Budweiser you can buy a long chalk. Right, anyway, sorry, I've been kind of rant about.
But we do hate Budweiser.
Yeah, and that's not being anti-American. It's just fucking terrible beer. And there's, don't get me wrong, Carling Black Label can get fucked as well.
We don't drink Carling, I don't drink any of it. I drink non-alcoholic beer these days.
No, fair enough. Right, it's all bad for you. Give it up. In her will, she bequeathed her entire fortune, around 2 million rubles, to the first person who would come and watch beside her tomb for 365 days and 366 nights.
There's an episode of Father Ted where they have to sit next to Father Jack's dead body to get his will. But it turns out that he'd just been drinking toilet cleaner, but given all the signs of death.
So there are a few rules to respect, though. Even just being there for over a year.
No wanking. Look,
not going to make 3 days. I didn't want 365.
I know what you guys are like. So, just rule number 1: no wanking. Okay.
I think that goes without saying in a cemetery, but fair enough.
Anyway, excuse me.
The only activity
you've never been a goth.
Apparently not. Yeah, slap on the Bauhaus and get to it. The only activity authorised to the grave is reading.
Bauhaus and the one wrist shuffle.
Yeah. Yeah, so all they could do is read. So you're right, yeah, but obviously, not knocking one off, or anything else.
What if you happen to be reading an erotic novel by I don't know, Alan Titchmarsh?
Doesn't say one-handed reading. He does write erotic novels.
He does.
Didn't he want a bad sex word or something?
I might start writing erotic novels.
And her guardian is allowed a daily outing of 1 hour.
You're right to go straight past me saying that.
You've written.
No, I might do.
Yeah, well, if you do, then let's we'll have a clip, won't we?
Fan fiction,
like from your cyberpunk novel.
Yeah. God, imagine reading that out. Fuck me. I'll stick to the absurd, I think.
Fair enough. Okay, so the only thing you can do is read for a year, and her guardian is allowed a daily outing of 1 hour. So
you're allowed out for 1 hour a day. The rest of the time for the whole year, you have to be there, and all you can do is read.
It has to take place during the closing hours of the cemetery.
So you're allowed to go out, but only when the cemetery's shut, and only for an hour.
So then you can only walk around the cemetery, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, but it's just to get a bit of air, basic. But your job, the reason why you're getting these 50 rubles or whatever it fucking was.
2 million rubles.
2 million, right? I don't know what that is.
50 probably be less enticing.
But, I don't know. Tough times, isn't it? Get up and grind now. What's your side hustle? Watching corpses. So you're but the idea being that you're meant to guard the body, essentially. Make sure nothing happens to it. So you're allowed an hour to go and have a little walk around, but rest of the time
and that's when they sneak in and get it done.
Well, exactly. So
not thought this through, have you, Countess Demidov?
Well, she might have hired someone else for 50 rubles who comes in for an hour a day, like a cat sitter.
It's around 20 grand, basically, apparently. So 2 million rubles.
What these days?
Yeah.
Right, but in the old days, then that's a lot more because of inflation.
Don't know.
When was this?
This was in 18.
Oh, loads more then.
I mean, the purchasing, it would be the same amount, but the purchasing power would be far greater in those days. Yeah.
It would have been comfortable living for the rest of your life, probably.
1818, so yeah.
You probably do it, wouldn't you?
Buy a house and what have you.
Would you do it for a year if that sets you up?
Yeah, because you can have
parties
meals delivered directly to the tomb. Let's have a look. Several candidates tried the adventure, but
it'd just be like lockdown.
Yeah,
it'd be fine.
You lock down the cemetery,
but without any of the entertainment that kept us all sane or made us go insane.
Yeah. You say if you're a goth, you'd be there anyway. You might as well just
might as well.
Job. Several candidates do the thing you love. Several candidates tried the adventure, but they all lost their minds after a few days.
Weak minds.
The one who lasted the longest watched over the Countess for 3 weeks, but ended up losing his mind. Oh, well, like everyone else.
Does that mean it's still open?
Any volunteers? Well, interesting. Again,
it depends. Like if the money is now worth,
has it been raised up? Yeah, is it like 2 million quid rather than 2 million rubles?
Yeah.
Because they could have invested it presumably, so it would have grown.
I'd do it. No problem.
Well, maybe look into it.
Yeah. I'll instantly speak to my new job and go, do you mind if I take a year's secondment? I've got to go and sit in a tomb.
I mean, and I'm thinking of renaming today's things, is it bollocks? You decide. Because, I know. They all lost their minds. Anyway, they're urban legends. They don't have to come with evidence, especially the mini ones. So this is an interesting one. The Seine's Unknown Lady.
Oh.
Number 5.
Oh, is this a suicide?
Yeah, so at the end of the 19th century, a body of a young woman was fished out of the Seine in Paris. The body was transported to the morgue, then located in the Ile de la
I thought you were going to say to a pie shop.
Yeah, well, one or the other, hoping that a loved one would recognise it. The pathologist observed no signs of violence and concluded it must have been a suicide. Captivated by the beauty and serenity of her face. Oh, he's one of those.
Got a bit of a La Pascalita deal going on.
Yeah.
Do you know what, love? If you had a pulse, you and I could go down to the Moulin Rouge for a night of dancing and entertainment.
And that's the thing is, he's in Paris, so he could find a French wizard really quickly. I imagine in La Pascalita.
They're all in Mexico.
Yeah, they're all in Mexico, aren't they? They've all moved out there, practices their dark arts. An employee of the premises decided to create a death mask of her, moulding it directly onto the lady.
Lovely.
Seems inappropriate, but...
Why? Well, she's not bothered. She killed herself.
She's dead anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but she killed herself. So that at that point, if you kill yourself, that means essentially that your body becomes Creative Commons. You can do what you want with it.
There's for the rest of the article, this makes me really worry about the author. The mask was later sold worldwide, and the unknown of the stem became famous among artists for its serene beauty and the mysterious death behind it. So
I think you can still see this now in somewhere in like the Paris Crime Museum or something. I think people still go and see it.
There's a photo.
I've heard of this.
And it's almost like an enigmatic smile. Ironically,
so enigmatic smile. I mean, that's just how her face was shaped because. Yeah, she's committing suicide. She's probably not going to be smiling loads unless she's really happy. But also, that's just her resting face.
Yeah, agreed. No, I'm just saying, you look at the mask and you didn't know the story. It looks like a sort of half smile.
I think someone's got the hot for the mask. I think someone's...
Apparently so. Well, I'm not the only one because...
You're not the only one. What are you going to do to get yourself to the front of that?
Ironically, this mask served as a model for making the famous first aid doll on which we all practice the first aid exercises.
God, I've kissed her.
Yeah, cool bullshit. This is what it says. This makes her the most kissed woman in the world today.
Oh, I mean, the dolls aren't the woman, but
I don't know. Transference.
So I would say the most kiss. I would say the most kiss likeness.
Image, likeness.
Well, then I reckon more people have kissed images of Jesus and Mary, Mother Mary, than the first aid doll over the years.
Well, fucking take it up with...
what's her name?
Valisa,
right. Has it got an email address there? I can sense some poison pen letters coming.
There's some weird DMs going onto somebody's Twitter fucking feed.
No, I've kissed her face then.
Yeah, fair enough.
And broken her lower couple of ribs by doing when I learnt CPR.
There you go.
Have you learnt CPR, Neil?
Yeah, we did it in Cubs, I believe. Practice it, yeah.
There you go.
It's been a very long time ago, but yeah.
Do you reckon you could save someone now?
Give it a go.
Give it a go, yeah. If for a penny.
Can but try. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you're on the scene, if somebody doesn't respond and it's then
give it a go.
It ain't going to happen. You wait for the paramedics.
Has anyone got a bicycle pump?
Ideally, you'd have a defibrillator. But anyway, the Devil's Gates.
Defibrillator. Only if their heart stopped. Not if they're choking or they've got
choking.
They've got water in
their lungs. Maneuver.
Well, water in the lungs.
But it's defibrillator just for
heart attacks, restarting the heart.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's you can use it. First aid, you can use the heart pump for heart attacks or for. The kiss of life is.
You can't use the defibrillator for CPR. You can use them in tandem to try and get the heart going.
Oh, okay.
But if someone's swallowed a load of water, at the beach.
No, we're talking about different scenarios here. So you're talking about
then CPR, you do CPR, don't you, to get the water out the lungs?
Yeah, but you don't just do CPR when somebody's drowning. You can also do it when somebody's had a heart attack.
No, I won't touch anyone on land.
Oh, okay. Lord of the
Sea, no. International waters.
Fair enough.
It's not worth it these days. You'll get sued. Not worth it. Save someone's life. They'll take you for everything you've got. Just let them die.
There you go.
Let them die.
More's words there, Mr. Bloom. Right. The Devil's Gates of Notre Dame.
At the end of the day, you've got to look after number one.
After number one, yeah. Good Samaritan, that mug. He got fucked. Don't be like a good Samaritan. That was what the parable was about.
It was, yeah.
When visiting Notre Dame...
Keep your fucking nose out, that parable should have been called.
Yeah.
Don't get involved in domestics.
The legend of the dozy Samaritan. Try hard Samaritan. When visiting Notre Dame is again possible, visitors will notice a remarkable work on the cathedral side doors. Back in the 40s...
Is this a new story?
Newish. I mean...
No, I mean, is this new? This is like... So we're finished with the...
Yes, no, sorry. Do we have more to say about the...
And not unless there's more to say in
the Sens Unknown Lady.
So it finished on that she's the CPR woman?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Some of these are very thin.
Tell you what, Neil, might well have just been a piece of vulcanized rubber on a Baker-like skeleton. But
so you had an awakening, was it?
Best kiss of my life.
Fair enough.
Loads of tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, although it was
the
most
weird. Enthusiastic response.
Because it was weird because the teacher had disappeared at that point. So
yeah,
and he made us all go out of the room before calling us in, but then he wasn't there, and he was going, right, everyone have a go on this. I didn't know where he was.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation.
Perfectly, yeah.
Yeah. Right, the Devil's Gates of Notre Dame.
Devil's Gates.
The little, lovely side doors when you can see it again. I don't know how. It's all those people pledged to get it repaired and then basically didn't pay up.
Yeah, that sounds. It's
probably good. It's good hustle. Yeah, probably.
He fucking loves that. Oh, I'm gonna make sure everyone in Flint has clean water. Nah, not really.
No, maybe not.
Not going to do that. I'm going to give Trump 48 million pounds a month for his re-election campaign. Nah, not really. He's such a cunt, that guy.
I'm going to buy Twitter. No, not really. Actually, I think you'll find the good saying you are going to fucking be doing it.
He good to see Hulk Hogan back in the spotlight.
Oh, what was the thing here? Because I saw something like he was slagging off Trump, but I didn't know whether it was like a slick maneuver where, in fact, it was a pro-Trump thing.
He came up and was saying that Trump's like the real American and stuff, and then like pulled off his T-shirt in the Hulkamaniac move.
Nice.
Yeah, did that. Then Kid Rock came on.
So really get the Gen Z vote. Fucking pumped. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that thing which Trump said?
I saw the picture of the Kid Rock bit. I think it was like playing to about 20 people.
Oh no, Trump was talking to like recently, like last day or two. He was talking to like the Christian caucus or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I love Jesus. I'm such a Christian. Jesus is great. You got to get out and vote this time. You got to get out, all of you. Got to vote this time because in 4 years you won't need to vote. We'll have it locked up." And it's like, well, you could probably say the quiet part out loud. That's like his thing. Isn't
it? But then he finished it off and he went, "I'm not a Christian."
He said, "I'm not a Christian. I love Christians." Hannibal Lecter, great guy. He ate Judas. Wonderful guy. Asylum seekers. They're all coming over the border. They're opening their asylums. Hannibal Lecter. It's just like, and sharks. I could kill a shark.
Take a bullet for his country, Chris.
I know that, like, maybe.
All I want you to say is thank you for your service, sir. Walk on.
I think maybe as a wet liberal, I read too much into it, and I have only seen clips, but like just coming out and going, "You won't need to vote next time. We'll have it all sewn up. You don't need just vote this time. You won't need to vote in 4 years." I mean, that is kind of.
Yeah,
you can argue. You could go.
It's unfortunate rhetoric.
That's because we'll have done such a good job that we'll.
No, exactly. You can interpret it like that.
Yeah. But I mean, that isn't what it sounds like, is it?
No, it's
Anyway, what's that got to do with the gates of hell?
Well, draw your own conclusions, listener. So, back in the 14th century, the construction of Notre Dame was almost completed except for some last details. It was Biscornet, then a young ironworker endowed with a particular talent, who was entrusted with the decoration of Notre Dame side doors. I love how we're supposed to know who Biscornet is.
Biscornet.
Oh, is he a famous architect or something?
I thought he was the thing where you get like vanilla ice cream, and then
I call it that.
And then Biscoff.
The biscuit, yeah.
The biscuit, yeah, and you mix those together.
Tasty but overrated biscuit.
Yeah, I think when you mix those together, it's like a McFlurry, and I think that's what biscuit is.
Okay, and I just did a quick Google. I don't think it was like a famous. I don't think it was like whatever.
He was no Sir Christopher Wren.
Exactly. Because he's just mentioned in connection to this legend. Anyway, he was then a young ironworker endowed with particular talent who was entrusted with the decoration of the side doors. But the time granted to him was too short, and despite his genius, he panicked at the magnitude of the task. Somebody's not project managed this properly, have they?
No, he needs a bit of muck in the numbers now. Unbelievable.
You're pushing the talent.
And also, who's your stakeholder in building Notre Dame? God.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Go, oh, well, actually, I've got a lot of... I've actually put a lot of stuff in the contract around you not hitting certain points. You have to pay a fine. So...
it always catches you out on you get nickel and dimed.
Exactly.
Seems good on the first surface, but...
I mean, it sort of doesn't matter, does it, if it's a bit late? Because cathedrals take about 400 years to build anyway.
I mean, yeah. I think there's a reasonable amount of bullshit in every single one of these stories.
I know, I'm playing a lot of it.
And then the devil appeared to him, offering the ironworker a pact. Who would help him carry out his work in exchange for his soul. That seems reasonable.
Well, I'm not going to do that, but I will give you a day rate contract outside of IR35.
Yeah.
All right, deal.
Some would argue similar. So this diabolical agreement was signed with Biscornet's blood, who did not hesitate much, apparently.
Not much.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh, my soul. Oh, go on then. Got to get the job. Anything to get the job done. So despite his efforts and never-ending work days, the door decoration was far from finished before the deadline. Exhausted and discouraged, he fell asleep in the middle of his work. When he woke up, the ironwork was miraculously finished with incomparable finesse. Satan had kept his promise, and the doors were an absolute marvel.
Say what you will about Satan, good with his hands.
Yeah, he's a busy little worker when he wants to be. He's good on the deadline.
Not got a lot out there, Neil. He's not traditionally intelligent. He's not book smart.
He's kinesthetic.
He's got a different type of intelligence, potentially a more useful one.
Well, indeed.
Take that, Harvard.
Takes all sorts. However, on the day of the inauguration of the cathedral in 1345, the sublime doors refused to open. The only way to unlock them was to sprinkle them with holy water. That same day, Biscornet mysteriously disappeared. Apparently, they're very impressive metal fittings.
But, I mean, are they supernaturally impressive?
Well, even today, the realisation of this extraordinary work remains a mystery.
Right.
The thing is, you do get a bit of that, and people say, oh, was this done by an alien, or was this done by whatever? And it's just actually, some artisan staff, like literally we just don't have those skills anymore.
There's some mad...
try and recreate things where somebody, got 200 years of craft or whatever that they've learned from.
Yeah, stuff like... So some of the masonry stuff really is kind of difficult to... You go, well, how would they do that with the tools that they had? Yeah. Like I think it's called Papunco. It's in Peru, I think, or Chile. And it's thousands of years old, but the thing is, it's like the cutting in and that kind of stuff, getting
there's
properly...
a whole thing of, you have the freestanding kind of buildings where there's no cement or anything like that. They just lay stones on top of one another and they fit together so perfectly. It's just But as you say, it's just,
You've got a lot of time on your hands, haven't you? Get it right.
Yeah, but also you've developed a skill. It was a necessary skill at the time, which is no longer needed because you have got the likes of cement. So, or it's with them, I think they realised that we were looking at the cement that the Romans used, actually, they're learning some of the recipes are actually better than some of the things we have today under certain environments.
Well, they used pumice stone, didn't they? Which
helps.
Which means it can set underwater.
Less fragile, yeah.
I'm just having a look at the door now. So all of the carving stuff's very impressive. The door itself's not. It's not
the metal work around it, I think.
It's not devil impressive.
No,
not to me, anyway. But maybe I expect a lot from old. Nah, I've got much higher ambitions, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, it sounds like he had to bust a gut anyway. So I don't know. I think he sold his soul pretty cheap, but there you go.
Well, that's
passionate for his end product.
Well, they don't learn. They don't learn economics in school anymore, do they?
Well, no, this is true.
Oh right. Well. Oh,
So
well, I didn't know him. Do you know what? If he's selling his stuff for free, giving shit away cheap.
I mean, listen, what you got to say, Satan's come up with his end of the bargain, hasn't he?
Oh, he always does.
You can't complain.
No, do you know what? What I like about Satan is he never works on a contract and he always pays on time.
Yeah.
Can you say the same for St. Peter? In my experience, no, I won't use him again.
No, fair dues. Right, number 7, Haunted Mansion on Avenue Frochot.
Mm.
I probably pronounced it incorrectly, but there we go. It's a charming private cul-de-sac in the Pigalle district, Paris 9. Today protected by a fence, and I think it's another one you can't go down potentially, I guess. This lane is lined with beautiful private mansions, once home for prestigious artists of the 19th and 20th centuries. The villa at number 1 is particularly interesting because, according to legends, it's haunted. The house was the scene of murders and mysterious and tragic deaths. The origin of the curse is the assassination of a chambermaid working in the villa at the beginning of the 20th century. An
assassination?
Yeah.
Not murder?
No, I was going to say that's all. Again, I think, I'm not sure that English is. I don't know. Maybe this was originally a French article that's been translated. I'm not quite sure. According to the legend, her spirit haunts the place, and since then, all the house owners have been victims of the servants' torment. At night, one would still hear sinister noises.
Ooh.
The list of the villa's recent owners includes the singer Sylvie Vartan, who, after his acquisition in the 70s, said it was love at first sight, but refused to move there for unknown reasons. The next
for his mistress.
Yeah. The next owner was a literary critic who, shortly after the acquisition, wrote about the impression of going into debt to acquire my Gothic tomb. He passed away days after, paralysed in his bed.
Mm.
And then the next owner seems to take the matter very seriously because they have the villa exorcised.
Oh, good.
Operation appears to have worked well because the current resident has not yet encountered any ghosts.
Well, there we go. It's simple enough, wasn't it?
All's well that ends with simple exorcism. That's all you got to do.
Pay cheap, pay twice.
What a lot of people forget to do on their housing survey, Chris.
They scrimp.
You don't get a priest involved, and you're always, in case of hauntings, you're going to regret that.
You've got to get,
because then you're going to have to pay out for an exorcism, in cash at hand, and that's going to cost you.
And also, people might die in the house, which brings the house price down. It's
again, you need to be aware of these things going on.
Blood's murderous to get out of original maple flooring.
Yeah.
So, just don't little financial tip.
Don't skimp on your survey. Yeah.
Don't skimp on your paranormal survey.
Spiritualism and a spiritualist and a priest. Right, this is the final story then. The Marquis de Brinvilliers, famous poisoner of Paris.
The Marquis de Brinvilliers.
Again, I'm probably pronouncing all of these wrong, so apologies to our French listeners or anyone who can actually pronounce French.
Our Parisian listener, one of our
Parisian
top listeners.
Born in 1613, Marie-Madeleine Dru d'Aubray was the eldest of a family belonging to the great aristocracy. Despite her family's position and wealth, her childhood was far from happy. She lost her mother when she was a kid, and at the age of 7, she was raped by a serpent and then had incestuous relations. Sorry, by a servant.
Right, that's different.
That is.
That's more normal, sadly. But
although a servant.
Although, to be fair, serpents do very little raping, so I don't know why we give them such a hard time.
No.
Not since Greek times.
And I would have thought that the servant would have been sort of, killed with a quickness on the back of that kind of. Anyway.
No, not in those days.
Well, no, it's a servant, wasn't it? She's aristocracy.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't imagine that ended well for them, quite rightly.
But you shouldn't report it. It's unfortunately
you don't know.
High numbers.
But then she had incestuous relationships with her brothers, so all fairly awful.
Why is that awful?
What, having incestuous relationships with your brothers after
if you love them?
Okay.
I'm not saying.
Let's agree to disagree on that one.
Look, just because you don't fancy your brother doesn't mean that no one should fancy their brothers, Neil. It's a little tiny box, your mind, isn't it, that you live in?
Yeah, it's so constrained by the mundane. Oh, fucking Marquis de Sade.
Look, maybe I don't believe in consensus reality. All right, there we go. I've said it.
There you go. All right, yeah. That's the hill you want to die on. Fair enough.
It's not a hill.
Get on your little incest hill, and you just enjoy yourself.
Hey, I'm an only child, so it doesn't matter to me what you perverts get up to with your siblings. Yeah. But all I'm saying is I'm not going to judge you for it because I can't put myself in your shoes.
Yeah, okay. At 21, she married the Marquis de Brinvilliers, a prominent gambler too busy squandering his fortune to take an interest in his wife. Okay, so it's not gone well. The couple took up residence in a mansion on the old Rue
Fucking hell, how do you get around in Paris now? Badly.
Badly, yeah. Saint Paul, today 12 Rue Charles IV. Or Charles V, in the heart of Le Marais neighbourhood. Yeah, my pronunciation's gone downhill. Abandoned by her husband, she took the Chevalier Godin de Saint-Croix as her lover. Her father totally disapproved of this relationship and, thanks to his good connections, managed to imprison your man in the Bastille.
Yeah.
And during his short time in the Bastille, Chevalier, so this is the first person who's kind of like made her happy. Her husband's just cards all night, can't be bothered. Like,
well, to be fair, she's banging her brother. You might lose interest.
I mean, we don't know whether or not she's still having relations with the family at this point. And Dad doesn't seem to have had any issues with that.
The thing is, right, unless she's been open, which she wouldn't have been because of the time, and said, look, I was raped when I was young, and then and I've had relations with my brother and stuff. To be honest, I'm a bit of a fucking mess, right? So, I'll be open and we'll talk about it and we'll try and work, I'll try and work through it and stuff. That wouldn't have been the case. She would have just been really weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit like, rather sort of be playing cards than, like that, because there's no open dialogue.
No. Yeah, she might have, had issues or trauma. But, I mean, this is an urban legend. It's probably all made up anyway. Let's not read into it too deeply. Anyway, during his short time in the Bastille, he learnt the art of poisoning with his cellmate, Exili, a famous Italian chemist and poisoner. That's handy. A few weeks later, he was released from prison and taught all about poisoning to his mistress, who quickly became an expert in the subject. I imagine this is going to end well. Yeah. The Marquise
exercised... Do you reckon it'll be a Romeo and Juliet situation, or just they kill a load of people?
I think she's going to murder up her husband.
Do you reckon it'll be natural-born killers situation?
Yes. Good. They went on a rampage throughout Paris. So she exercised new skills on her maiden patients at the Hotel Dieu, taking care to note everything, doses, length of agony, etc. I was feeling sympathy for her up to this point. And
hurt people now.
This is true. So then she took revenge on her old father, who had imprisoned her lover. The brothers followed, suffering the same fate. And then her lover dies. When his apartment was seized and emptied, a cassette containing numerous proofs incriminating the Marquise was found. She fled to London, then to Liège, where she was found and brought back to France in 1676, where she was condemned after trial.
Yeah, why would you go from London to Liège? Like, that's much closer to France.
Yeah, I don't know. And in 1676, the Marquise was taken to Place de la Grève for her public execution by beheading. Because she was considered a witch, her body was thrown at the stake and her ashes were scattered in the Seine.
Okay.
In her last confession, she admitted there was a large network of poisoners in Paris close to King Louis XIV, but she didn't disclose names. A real witch hunt was then launched. It was the beginning of the famous affair of the poisons, which made the French court tremble. I'll have to look into that.
That sounds real.
So this sounds like they might actually have some basis in fact. I think this is like a true life crime story. So maybe we'll look more into this one at some point. Where are the poisons? Oh, okay. So I can imagine that going on amongst the kind of like aristocracy, a bit like the Medicis or whatever in Italy, isn't it? A major murder scandal in France during Louis XIV's reign. Lots of implicated poisoning and witchcraft. And it reached into the inner circle of the king. Execution of 36 people. Well, there you go.
What years were this?
It would be early 17th century. Oh, no, late 17th century. So,
okay.
So look, between 1677 and 1682.
Wondering if no, it's a bit later. I was going to say, wondering if that was a similar time to him going after the Knights Templar.
Oh, that was Philippe III. I think it was quite a bit earlier. No, that was 14th century, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit earlier.
Yeah. Louis XIV is more the kind of like, I'm going to spend all the money and all of that.
Good stuff. What's the point being king if you're not doing that?
Exactly. He was probably the most powerful man in the world, more or less, at that point.
I think the Emperor of China might have something to say about that.
Yeah, fair enough. I suppose Yeah, that's probably
in the Western world.
Well, in the Western world, it's probably more accurate. Tricky, isn't it, to measure these things? Anyway, so there you go, Chris.
There you go.
Urban legend ending off on a true life crime story at the end there.
Paris.
Transition into a true life crime.
Not only the city of lights, but the city of mysteries. Visit Paris.
Yeah, it's a lovely part of the world.
I've still never been to Paris. I will do at some point before I'm dead, because it's not difficult to get to. But
it's quite easy from London.
I don't know. Like, I just, for some reason, I've never been hugely drawn to it. I've always been like, I'd rather go.
No, fair enough.
Elsewhere, but I know that it's nice.
Depends what you're into. Do you know what I mean? If you've got like scenery and sort of, things like that, it's just I don't know. It's got like sort of.
Well, I'm just as you know, I'm just into EDM and chemsex. So I go to Prague.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's just like your life is very much like one of those XXX movies.
Very much.
I mean, the Vin Diesel one's not the
not porn.
Just a standard.
Well, it's a mix.
Yeah, I mean, some.
To be fair. All right, Neil. So we're not going to do a scorings today, are we?
No, unless you're not going to score late. It was just a
would you score Paris for me?
I'm going to go 8 spookiness because there's a lot of dead people down in the catacombs.
Yeah.
Reach, is that the next one?
That's 10, isn't it?
It's got to be 10, yeah.
Everyone's heard of Paris.
Everyone's heard of Paris. It's influenced the fashions and everything of it, because that's going to be a 10. Narrative premise, yes, 10 again. Lots of famous stories going on there.
Believability.
Do
you believe that Paris exists?
This is where it falls down. It doesn't exist.
3, isn't it?
That's a 2.
2, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's 28.
Something like that. There's your score, Paris. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Not gold medal, but you're in the medal placing, so good on you.
If only you existed.
If only you existed, that's the only thing that's letting you down.
That's letting you down.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call time on it, and hopefully you've enjoyed the slightly different episodes. If you have any legends or whatever you want to get in touch about, even just questions, you can do at herb.legends.podcast@gmail.com. But apart from that, enjoy the Olympics if that's your thing, or if not, just enjoy your week. Do something else. Yeah. Exactly. It's not none of our business.
Skin off my nose. What you do with your time?
We'll keep our nose out of your business if you keep your nose out of ours. Yeah. And then and we'll all just rub along.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Just stop trying to get into our business is what I'm saying. Because few people have been trying to get into our business recently. And
it's been spotted, yeah. It's been seen, it's been noticed.
It's been spotted. There's been certain certain protocols have been initiated. So just a warning.
You cross the line, you're going to know about it, yeah? Life's a hard teacher, you learn the lesson.
Exactly. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. That's all we're saying.
After the exam, that's what we're going to say. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
All right, bye.
Bye. On that weirdly aggressive note.